Katha Upanishad, Chapter 2, Section 1. पाराञ्चिखानि व्यथ्रीणत स्वयम्भू तस्मात् परान् पश्यति नान्तरात्मन कश्चिद्धीर प्रत्यग आत्मानम् ऐक्षद आवृत चक्षुरमृतत्वम् इच्छन् पराचः कामान् अनुयन्ति बलास्ते मृत्योर्यन्ति विततस्य पाशम् अथ धीरा अमृतत्वं विदित्वा ध्रुवम् अध्रुवेषु इह न प्रार्थयन्ते. So here in these two verses it is being said that the self, this Atma, cannot be sought through the senses. So in verse number 1, which is saying that the self-born God, Swayambhu means self-born God, pierces the openings of the senses outwards. Vyatrinat means pierced. The openings, Paranji means openings, Khani means the orifices or the sense organs. Therefore, Tasmat means therefore, Paran Pashyati Na Antaratmana. So therefore, one looks not inwards. Nan Antaratman means not inwards. Pashyati means looks. We look outwards. That is Paran. Kashchid. However, some wise man, Dhira means wise man, desiring immortality. Icchan, the last word here means desiring. Icchan, desiring immortality. Amritatvam, turned the gaze inwards. Chakshur means the gaze or the eyes inwards, avrita. And saw, Ekshad means saw the Atma, the self dwelling inside. Pratyag Atmanam. So, here, what exactly this verse is saying is, the self-born God pierces the openings of the sense organs outwards. Therefore, one looks outwards and not within oneself. Some wise person, however, desiring immortality, looked inwards and saw the self, the Atma. So basically, we all have been designed so as to look outwards. But there are some people who, after getting tired of looking outwards, or who sometimes feel the impermanent state of the world they live in, or some who are not satisfied with what their sense organs are giving them, and they yearn for something more truthful, or let's say more permanent or more eternal. They start introspecting and they start looking within themselves for these answers. And then they find the self, the Atma inside them. So it would be right to say that all the answers to your spiritual quest are inside you. You might need a guru for guidance, but then even he can hold your hand up to a limited time period. The way ahead is on our own, completely. I have at least started feeling that all the spiritual queries I have, the only place I can get my answers is inside me. And how? Again, as said before in the verses here, by purifying our thoughts, by meditation, by self-discipline. This journey within ourselves will become easy. The same concept is being continued in verse number 2. where it says that the immature people, balaste, the children or the immature people, they go after external objects of desire. Go after. Anuyanti means go after or pursue the external objects. Paracha. Kaman means desire. Paracha means external objects. And again they get trapped in the claws of death. Get trapped. Yanti means trapped in the claws or in the noose. Pasham means the claws, the noose of death. Mrityor, which is widespread. Vitatasya. Atha, however, the wise person. Dhira means the wise person who has recognized. Viditva means recognized immortality. Amritatvam. That person does not seek, does not look for eternal life. Dhruvam means eternal life in the unstable or the impermanent world around. Adhruveshu means unstable, impermanent world. So does not seek. Prarthayante, this last word means does not seek. So the entire meaning of this verse is the immature people who go after the external objects of desire. Parachaha. And thus, what happens is they get trapped in the widespread death all around. The wise, however, being aware of immortality, do not seek for the eternal in this impermanent world. So basically, the people who do not understand immortality, who do not understand that this self, this Atma inside us is immortal, it will never die. They keep on pursuing external objects of pleasure in this world that lead to destruction. This death is spread everywhere, and those who are attached to the worldly things, including relationships, how can they escape the trap of death? We feel the pain of death, don't we? And we all will face death one day. So the motive is to be in this world while detaching ourselves to the objects. Work, but do not expect result. Love, but do not expect it back. Enjoy whatever you have in this world without ownership. That is the step-by-step secret to detachment. Once this process of detachment starts, gradually the mist will thin out and you can see the real self, the real world inside you. Then you will automatically, like a wise man, stop seeking the permanence of things in this impermanent world outside. येन रूपं रसं गन्धं शब्दान् स्पर्शांश्च मैथुनान् एतेनैव विजानाति किमत्र परिशिष्यते एतद्वैतत् स्वप्रान्तं जागृतान्तं चोभौ येन अनुपश्यति महान्तं विभुमात्मानं मत्वा धीरो न शोचति. So here in verse number 3, yena means that by which, rupam means form or color, rasam is taste, gandham is smell, shabdam means the sounds, sparsham is the touch, and maithunan is sexual pleasure. So this verse means that by which, yena, that by which one can perceive, one can feel the form, the taste, the smell, the sounds, and the sexual pleasure. By that alone one perceives. Etaneva vijanati. By that alone one perceives. So this self is perceiving everything. Kim atra parishishyate, meaning what is there that remains unknown to it? Etad vaitad. This verily is that. This self is everything. So here, this self, this Atma, though it is not manifested, we cannot see it, but it can perceive everything. It is always present in every experience of ours. In the verse number 4, Swapnantam means dream, Jagaritantam means waking state, Chobhau means both these states. Yen anupashyati. Again, yen anupashyati means that by which one perceives the dream state, swaprantam, or the waking state, jagritantam. And having known or realized matva, a wise man having known or realized, dhiro means a wise man having known, matva, realized or known what? That this Atma is great and it is present everywhere. Atmanam vibhum mahantam. So it is great and it is present everywhere. When you have realized that fact, then the wise man does not grieve. Dhiro na shochati. So here in this verse, the dream and the waking states are taken into deeper levels. It's talking about the different levels of consciousness that we have. The waking phase, Jagrata, that is a conscious reality with the external world. The dream state, that is Swapna, is the phase of our inner world of suppressed feelings or emotions and fears. And then there is a third phase of dreamless sleep, Shushupti. So this is the phase which is empty. This is the phase of no mind. And it is in this sleep state that we become one with the Supreme Self. Have you ever felt the lightness, the freshness after getting up from a dreamless sleep? It feels as if you just now had slept and woken the other moment. It feels timeless, isn't it? This is the dreamless part of sleep, which in scientific studies also is considered to be the best. It is the time when even the incessant, unstoppable brain has also stopped working. So basically, both these verses are saying that this self is an integral part of us. Though we are unable to see it, but it is this self only that is present or part of every experience that we are having through our sense organs. This self is like aware of each and every thought of ours. You can consider the self in each of us as a computer that is processing all the information. And it is in turn connected with the central computer, and that is the Supreme Self. Ya imam madvadam veda आत्मानं जीवम् अन्तिकात् ईशानं भूतभवयस्य न ततो विजुगुप्सते एतद्वै तत्। यः पूर्वं तपसो जातम् अद्भयः पूर्वम् अजायत गुहां प्रविश्य तिष्ठन्तं यो भूतेभिर्व्यपश्यतः एतद्वै तत्. So here in shlok number 5, here imam, this imam means this. Madvadam means, literally it means honey eater, or here you can say the enjoyer of the fruit of action. Veda means knows, one who knows. Atmanam Jivam, this is about Jeev Atma, self, individual soul. Ishanam, Ishanam means the ruler, the Lord, the supreme self. Bhuta Bhavayasya, the past and the future. Tato means therefore, na vijugupsate, there is no fear. Na means no, vijugupsate means fear. So coming to its meaning, he who can understand, who can realize that this Jeev Atma, that this self is the honey eater, is the enjoyer of the fruits of action. And the Supreme Self, Ishanam, the Supreme Self, is the Lord of past, future and present too. He who can understand this has then no fear, na vijugupsate. Why? Because he has understood that this body is so temporary and only the Atma is immortal. That Atma or that self that finally gets dissolved into Brahma, the Supreme Self. So where is the fear here? There is no fear left because he understands that his Atma is a part of Paramatma. And finally that is where it will be merged into. So death of body becomes meaningless for that person. And any ego or identity with the body becomes immaterial because he knows this is impermanent. This body is just impermanent. It's a vehicle for his Atma, and this Atma is going to be merged with Paramatma. So the one who has realized this metaphysical truth becomes fearless of all fears. He embraces the freedom. Similarly, in verse number 6, it is mentioned that he who has seen the firstborn out of consciousness, Yah purvam tapaso jatam. Purvam means first, tapaso means meditation, or you can say conscious. Jatam is born. So one who has seen the firstborn out of consciousness, one who has seen the firstborn before the waters. Adbhaya means water, Purvam means the first, Ajayat again it means born. So Adbhaya Purvam Ajayat. This means one who has seen the firstborn before the waters. That he who has entered inside the hearts of all beings. Guham pravishya tishthantam. And he who sees through all beings. Yo bhutebhir pashyatah. And that he who has seen everything. And he is sitting inside the heart of all beings, and he is seeing through all of us. This verily is that Supreme Self. So basically, this verse says that the Supreme Self is the one who is the witness and the cause of the firstborn. And as we discussed before, the firstborn we are talking about is the golden germ, Hiranyagarbha, from which all the existence arose, from which your Atma, my Atma, and everybody's existence arose. We are one, just divided into different reflections of Hiranyagarbha or golden germ. This is what we have to realize fully. Ya pranena sambhavati aditir devata mai guham pravishya tishthanti ya bhute bhirvya jayatah etad vaitat. This verse has been inspired by similar words in Rig Veda, where it mentions about Aditi. Aditi is boundless, infinite. So in Rig Veda, the words goes like this: Aditir dayur, aditir antariksham, aditir mata sa pita sa putrah. Vishvadevah aditi, pancha jnana aditir jnatam, aditir jnanitvam. Which means Aditi is the sky, Aditi is the air, Aditi is mother, father and son. Aditi is all the gods and the 5 tribes. Aditi is whatever has been and will be born. So this verse of Katha Upanishad has been inspired by the Rig Veda's verse. So here it means, a literal meaning of this verse is, she who arises with life, she is Aditi, who arises with life. Ya pranena sambhavati. Pranen is life force. Sambhavati means born or arising. She is the soul of all the gods, Devata Mai. She enters the secret place of the heart. Guham pravishya tishthanti. Guham is secret place. Pravishya means enters the secret place of the heart, and is born with the beings. Ya bhute bhir. Bhute bhir is being associated with the beings and the elements and taking birth from there. So here Aditi is considered to be infinite, to be the pure consciousness that gave birth to our existence. She is boundless, just like Supreme Self, Brahma. So basically here Aditi is used in place of Brahma. She is considered to be the mother of all gods. This life is Hiranyagarbha Prana, in which all the gods are clustered. And from this Hiranyagarbha Prana, everything else arose. This mysterious golden germ, Hiranyagarbha, is in a heart also. And it was even there before the cosmic manifestation of the existence. And later it entered the beings. Yeah, this is a bit difficult to comprehend. I guess we need to cross the logical limits of our mind to grasp this kind of metaphysical concept, or probably meditate to understand in our own way. According to sage Ramanuja, Aditi here is referred to the Jiva Atma, individual self. Someone says Aditi means Mother Nature. Someone else has interpreted Aditi as Hiranyagarbha Pran. It is generally taken as a boundless, infinite, pure consciousness from which the cosmic creation was born. You can see that these Upanishads are in poetic form and interpreted in various ways by different sages. What we and most of the people follow is the Adi Shankaracharya's commentary of this text. However, in between, I am trying to put in the interpretations of sage Ramanuja also. You must be wondering, at least I wondered, why the writers of Upanishads couldn't write in simpler form, isn't it? Why such a poetic language which is difficult to interpret? Maybe they got so enlightened by the real knowledge that the bliss or joy came out in this poetic form. Actually, I also do not know the answer to this. Maybe it is difficult to express something so vague or metaphysical, something so beyond our normal lives and our limited minds, that it's difficult to put that experience into simple words. So I guess we need to meditate upon these verses, or probably we need to meditate upon our own Atma, our own soul, and bring out our own enlightenment in our own ways. अरण्योर्निहितो जातवेदा गर्भ इव सुवृतो गर्भिणीभिः दिवे दिव इद्यो जाग्रवद्भिर्हविष्मद्भिर्मनुष्येभिरग्निः एतद्वै तत् यतश्चुदेति सूर्योऽस्तं यत्र च गच्छति तं देवास सर्वे अर्पितास् तदुनात्येति कश्चनः एतद्वै तत्. Now here in verse number 8, Aranyor means fire sticks, 2 fire sticks. Nihito means hidden. Jat Veda. Veda means who knows. Jat means everything, so one who knows all. Garbha Eva. Eva means like an embryo protected. Garbha means embryo. Subrito means protected. Garbhinibhihi, the pregnant, just like a pregnant woman. Dive diva, every day. That person who is awakened, Jagravadbhir, who can contemplate, Havishamandbhir. Agnihi means fire. So, this verse is quoted from Samaveda. Its literal meaning is that Agni, the all-knower. Agni, which is the all-knower, Jata Veda, it is hidden in the fire sticks. Nihito Aranyor, hidden in the fire sticks. Just like the embryo, Garbha, is hidden and protected by pregnant women, Garbhinibhiha. Now this fire, this Agni should be daily adored by men who are awakened, who can contemplate. This verily is that. So its literal meaning is what I just explained. However, some sages have interpreted it metaphorically. Aranis, that is the 2 fire sticks, after rubbing can light up a fire. So these 2 fire sticks here can be considered as Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha, as we discussed earlier, Purusha is the consciousness and Prakriti is the manifested consciousness. So with the movement of these 2 sticks of Purusha and Prakriti, the entire creation arises, just like fire being created by rubbing them. And Agni is considered the most universal of the Vedic gods. It is the dynamic life force. In fact, of all the 5 elements, Agni is the only one that rises up. So Agni is also considered the force of will that can direct your thought flow towards enlightenment. In the verse number 9, Yataschudeti Suryo, the sun. So let me just tell you the literal meaning. Where does the sun rises from? Udeti means rises, Suryo means sun, and Yatash means where. So where does the sun rises from, and where does it goes to rest? Yatra means where does it goes to rest. Gachati goes, astam is rest. Where does it set? In it are all the gods founded. Tam devas, all the gods. Tam devas sarve, in it all the gods, sarve devas are founded, arpitas, and no one ever goes beyond that. This verily is that. So this means just like the sun that arises from the vastness and sets in it too. Similarly, we too arise from the Supreme Self, from Brahma, from the Absolute, and finally go back into it. This sun has its reality in Brahma just as we do. By the process of meditation upon this Atma, by spiritual quest, we are able to remove the limitations of our mind and reach the goal of self-realization, the goal of liberation of our Atma, beyond which no one ever goes. So here you can see from the verses number 5 to 9, they are telling about the universality of everything. Like for example in verse number 5, it was about the Jivatma, the individual soul, which is merging into the Supreme Self, the Paramatma. In the verse number 6, it was the golden germ, the soul of the universe, Hiranyagarbha, that each and every being has in it. In the verse number 7, it was Aditi, the boundless, infinite reality, which we all have inside and outside of us. In verse number 8, it's about fire, the Agni. And in this verse number 9, it is about the sun. So they are all said to be one with Brahma. That's what these all verses are saying in their poetic way. And there's a very famous line called as this Devas sarve atmani pratisthita iti, meaning all the gods are there inside your Atma. So all the gods of the universe, everything is inside you. Just need to look inside us. That's all. And we'll find all our answers. Yadaveha tad amutra, yadamutra tadanviha, mrityosam mrityum apnoti, ya iha nanev pashyati. Manasaivedam aptavyam neha nanasti kinachanaha. Mrityosam mrityum gacchati, ya iha nanev pashyati. So these two verses are talking about the unity of the Supreme Self and failure to see this essential unity around us is the cause of rebirth. So coming to verse number 10, Yadeveha means whatever is here, that is there, tad amutra. Yad amutra, whatever is there, that too is here, tad anveha. Whoever perceives or sees anything like manyness, yah iha, naneva pashyati, So whoever is seeing manyness here, Pashyati means seeing, Naneva means manyness, goes from death to death. Mrityo sa mrityum apnoti. So this verse once again emphasizes the infiniteness of Brahma. And someone has given an apt example. For example, if you are in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you will find water everywhere, above, below, to your right, to your left, everywhere you will see just water. So this Supreme Self, this Brahma, is everywhere and in every part of the beings here. If we see ourselves separate and different from others, we have not understood the teachings. And yes, it's a very difficult task. We keep on taking multiple births just to shed our ego and realize this unity. If we think we are any different or any better than that criminal we read of in the newspaper today, then we are mistaken. He also has that ansh or that particle of Brahma that we have inside us. The trees, the birds, animals, stars, the humans, this Brahma is present everywhere. So Sage Ramanuja takes these words as a confirmation of the omnipresence of Brahma. Coming to verse number 11. Manase Vedam, by mind alone is this to be obtained. What is to be obtained? And Manase Vedam means reflecting upon the teachings, reflecting upon the scriptures or your own experience, contemplation. You can realize this. Aktavya means realization. Realize what? The unity. There is nothing of variety here. Nanasti kimchana. Kimchana means nothing of variety. That is nanasti. Whoever perceives anything, whoever is seeing anything like variety here, ya iha naneva pashyati, goes from death to death. Nityos mrityom gacchati. So in these two verses, the Supreme Self is declared to be free of any difference. The multiplicity of this world does not change the unity of Brahma. And the same concept is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita too, in verse number 29 of chapter 6. It says, Sarva bhutashtam atmanam sarva bhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra sama darshanaha. So when this mind is harmonized by yoga, one will see equality everywhere. One will see one's own self as living in all beings and all beings in one's own self. And this is where we have to reach. This is what we have to realize fully. Angushtimatraha purusho madhyah atmani tishtati Ishano bhut bhavyasya na tato vijugupsate etad vaitat. Angushtimatraha purusho jyotir ivadumakah Ishano bhut bhavyasya sa evadya sa ushvah etad vaitat. Here in verse number 12, it says, the person of the size of a thumb. Purusho means the person of the size of a thumb. Angushta matraha. resides or exists in the middle of the body. Tishtati means exist in the middle of the body. Madhya Atmani. After knowing him, Tato, therefore, after knowing him, who is the Lord of the past and the future. Ishano means Lord or ruler of past and future. Bhut Bhavisya. Na Vijugupsate. After knowing this, one becomes fearless. Vijugupsate means fearless. And in verse number 13, the person of the size of a thumb, Angushta Matraha Purusho. Now that person is like a flame without smoke. Jyotir, like a flame without smoke. Ivadumakaha. He is the Lord of the past and the future. Ishano Bhuta Bhavisya. He is the same today. Sa Evadya, same today and the same tomorrow. Sa Ushwaha. This verily is that. Etad Vaitat. So here in these two verses, which are talking about the self, the Atma, to be existing inside the heart. So it is mentioned here that this Atma is about the size of the thumb. Though in earlier verses it is said that this self is immeasurable, isn't it? Anor Aniyan Mahato Mahiyan. It is smaller than the smallest and larger than the largest. So here, this must mean that this verse is simply trying to imply that the Atma is inside the heart. Thus, it must be smaller than the fist-sized heart. That's all. Adi Shankaracharya in his interpretation says that this self, which is said to be Angushta Matra, of the size of the thumb, is the Brahma itself. When Brahm enters the heart, it is called Atma. And he is the same in all. You have the same Brahm inside you, I have the same Brahm inside me. Then where is the difference between you and me? We have been born from the same 5 elements. We have the same Brahm inside us. Where is the difference? There is no difference between you and me. And when all the beings here are the same, then where does the question of right and wrong arise? Think about that. This Atma resides in the bodies, minds, hearts, and intellect of the people. It is everywhere. It is like a flame without smoke. These words must be from visions these sages must have experienced. It seems that all the descriptions of these ancient scriptures are unable to catch the glory of Brahma. That's how infinite, vast it must be. This Brahma resides inside each of us. Why then some know it and some do not? Let's look within ourselves. Purify our heart. Be an observer. Be non-judgmental. And meditate upon the self. Go inside oneself and we might find all the happiness and all the answers we have been looking for. Yathodakam durge vrishtam parvateshu vidhavati evam dharman prithak pashyam stan evanu vidhavati. यथोदकं शुद्धे शुद्धम् आसिक्तं तादृग् एव भवति एवं मुन्नेर्विजानत आत्मा भवति गौतम. These two verses again talk about the results of seeing variety or the results of seeing unity here. They are quite poetic in nature. Like in verse number 14, Yatho Dakam. Yatho means just like water. Dakam is water. Durge, difficult path. Vrishtam meaning pure pouring down. Parvateshu, that means hills. Vidhavati meaning flows. So just as the rain water that falls over the hills and gets scattered all over it. Evam dharman, in this way. Evam means in this way. Similarly, one who is viewing things differently. Dharman means things, prithak means different, pashyams mean seeing or viewing these things differently here. That person keeps on, running after those things distractedly. It's like he goes from life to life and does not understand what he's going after. So, in whole, this verse is saying that just as the rainwater that falls over the hills and gets scattered all over, it keeps on flowing without any direction whatsoever. Similarly, one who is unable to understand the underlying unity of all beings here, that person keeps on taking birth and rebirth, moving restlessly between lives. We in our foolishness just see the manifested things around. This material world, this Mayavi world is all that we see around us, thinking that it is true. We do not go beyond it. We forget that there is a deep consciousness inside us. And if we focus on that, we will start seeing the subtle unity among all. The real world beyond this material existence. We have forgotten the golden germ, the Hiranyagarbha we all took birth from. And that is the reason we are born into this material world again and again, so that we remember the reality of our souls within. So in the second verse, Yathodakam Shuddhe Shuddham, as the pure water is poured into pure. Yathodakam Shuddhe Shuddham Asiktam. Asiktam means poured. It becomes the very same. Tadrig eva bhavati. So, the person, evam munner. Munner means a person who is wise, who meditates, a sage. So just like that, a sage, a wise person who is meditating, you can understand this fact, who does not see any diversity here. He becomes one with Supreme Self. Just as water poured into water becomes water alone, similarly, the one who meditates is able to see this unity, this oneness, and his Atma becomes one with Paramatma. Something similar has been said by Kabir also. Jal mein kumbh, kumbh mein jal. And this is exactly what Rumi also said. I am the drop in the ocean. I am the ocean in a drop. So these wise people probably must have seen the unity here, seen the oneness among everybody, and realized the Supreme Self.